two other ministers, Reverend Butts, and elected officials and all that are here. Beverly Austin was the ultimate activist. I cannot think of any battle that she was not there to fight. Unlike others, though, she never sought to be out front. She never sought to get the credit. No matter what job she may have had, she was there. She would risk whatever payroll she was on to fight. Today, 4 years ago, Eric Garner was choked to death in Staten Island. Beverly was there. Beverly was there all the way back when I first saw Bud Calvin, the youth workers for Adam Clayton Powell. When you read her obituary, you're reading the history of art. From Adam Powell and Malcolm X to now. She never left the front line. She never didn't show up. Beverly was a real personification of black royalty. Because she would sit with those that were high and bring them down. And she would sit with those considered low and lift them up. About 27 years ago, G2 told me, if you're going to Harlem, you got to sit down with some people. He brought me in a room with 3 women. Teresa Freeman, all the way up here. Beverly Austin. And they grilled me, questioned me. And I've not been to an editorial board meeting in the New York Times that was worse than to be grilled by those 3 sisters. I heard the minister say she had swag. She had swag. But she also had a dagger. You have never been cussed out to a devil.
Oh, this is live from Manhattan Neighborhood Network. We're trying to do something new. We're trying to Skype William Allen in from NAN, our new crisis director. And today we have Derek Perkinson.
Yes, Perkinson, Derek, yes.
Good nephew of Beverly Austin.
Yes, the late great
If this
Beverly
had
Austin.
gone well, we would have heard Reverend Sharpton speak about Beverly Austin
okay, yes.
at her memorial.
Yes, yes.
Just how recent was that now?
She passed away July 2018.
July,
11th.
right?
Yeah, I never forget it.
Yeah, that was...
Certain dates are entrenched in your memory, and that's one that's forever going to be in my memory. She's my mother's next sister. We have 5, 6, I have 100 aunts.
Oh.
But my mother, and then she was right after. So they were very close. I was very close to her. A lot of people say I look like her, and I could pass for her son. So, yeah, she will be missed. She will be missed.
She was one of a kind, I tell you.
Yeah,
Beverly
yeah.
was something.
And you know, she always spoke about a lot of things she was doing and what she was into. And me growing up, listening to stories, I never really paid any mind until I saw the outpouring of love at her funeral, and I realized the gravity of all the years of things she was telling me she was a part of and doing. You know, and I've seen Rev come to her house years ago. That's when he was a little heavier. His bodyguard was bigger than him.
Yeah.
And, I've seen her with David Patterson and all these other people, and not knowing, you know, I wasn't into politics like that, and so I didn't know the gravity of it, but it all came together at her funeral. So.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, we've had difficulty with the Skype because we've got
That's good.
William Allen.
He's all right. He's all right.
William Allen is. Are you on Skype, William? Are you there?
He's probably
busy. I want to
busy.
get you in so we can turn off this Skype. This Skype is giving us a lot of problems. So, seems like, well, let's get William on the line. Can we do that? I see he's got him up in the box here. A few technical difficulties, you know. That's what happens when you do live.
Yes, yes.
But if we can get William on and talk a little bit about the crisis director, because I know he's busy. He was talking.
Yeah.
That's what the confusion was.
Yeah. Well, before we do that, I want to thank both of you guys. This, 20 years to let me know on the show, that's monumental. 20 years of doing anything, it should be applauded.
We open up the place.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I hope, you know,
we're moving in and we
carry on the tradition. So that's a very big accomplishment, man. And kudos to both of you, man, to see men of color doing this.
Well, Graham's been here, what, 15 at least?
Yeah.
20.
We started 201.
Diallo.
Diallo.
Amadou Diallo.
That's 20 years.
That's 20 years, for sure.
20 years.
Yeah. Ruben Diaz, borough president, just held a memorial for him, 20 years anniversary. So.
You mean the next mayor?
Well, I don't know. There was a poll sent. A young lady in Brooklyn sent it. She works in the borough president's office of Eric Adams.
Oh, yes, I know Eric, too.
On the text, you click it. It was from City and State poll, so it was. You click it, and Ruben was ahead 40% at the time. And she just texted. That was yesterday, and she just texted today. Said, you know, Eric won. Open it up. Eric won now. So we'll see. We'll see. Because I was surprised too that Ruben was winning by 40%. Scott Stringer is look like he's the lead, you know, in that race. A lot of people don't speak about him, but
Scott has been around for a long time.
A long time. A long time.
And I worked with him on the anti-Klan rally when the Klan was looking to march here in New York. And that was my first interaction with Scott Stringer.
Right.
So we got 3 solid guys to consider for the position of mayor.
Absolutely. And any campaign, you need money. And Scott has the most money to date. So we'll see what happens.
Excuse me for all the confusion here. Can we run that? Can we run another roll-in so we can get back? Give me the second roll-in, and we'll come right back at you. All right? Can you roll a roll-in? Too much, trying too much today.
Yeah.
Worked diligently here for 25 years. I want him to stand as Christian peoples. We have Paula, who is here. Her name is Miss Julie Nunez. Julie, if you have any money tonight, I just would need it. Okay? We have Mr. Stan Mallory in the house, who is the chair of sports. And I'll tell y'all something, don't go near him now, because you know how to do that karate. That's right. You know, so, and his lovely wife is sitting on the side downstairs. She's part of the Guardians and committee here. Those are the people that, you know.
Well, he has people inside the House of Justice, that's why.
Can you hear?
In the background.
Can you hear me? All right. Well, welcome.
I hear you. You got on a brown suit.
Ah, there you go. It's actually green. Well, did you get to watch Teresa?
Yep, I saw her yelling at Arthur.
I thought I'd bring in a familiar face, you know. I just want to welcome you and Derek to NAN, the family of NAN. We're all familiar with, we ran Beverly first, and then we had Teresa on, so, you know, we're a family now, and the saints are, you know, praising both Teresa and Beverly.
Stars
right,
align.
so welcome to NAN.
Thank you,
All right.
Lester. I appreciate it.
Well, William, I see you took the bull by the horns, and you're busy as hell, aren't you? So tell us what's happening with the crisis director.
It's been very, very busy. We're getting inquiries from all across the country, and a lot of inquiries from out New York State. And we're learning that more of the cases and complaints that we're getting, we're finding that many of them have a common thread. And that's where, one, people feel their civil rights have been violated, or two, they don't know who to go to get their concerns addressed.
Well, there's only place to go is Nan, really.
Yep.
That's it. So, you know.
And these are this is the phone calls every day. It's a lot of calls, and a lot of the work is done over the phone because they're from across the country. And as you know, we're still trying to build a network and trying to put some digital computerized systems in place so we can really effectively respond to people's concerns.
So, what do we got? I guess we want to invite everybody to the convention coming up in April 3rd to the 6th.
Yep.
I imagine you're going to have a couple of programs on that day. Nan's convention.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, we're on the same page. Right.
Just push it to the
Sign
side.
everything. You want to give us a particular case that we'll all be interested in? You want to give us
Say it again?
You want to give us a case that you're most proud of, that you've resolved lately?
One of my very first cases, which was local right here in New York, a large housing development wanted to evict a 95-year-old woman.
NYCHA wanted to evict a 95-year-old woman.
A 95-year-old woman,
Nan member.
and our research, we found out that she didn't owe any rent at all. And so we're very happy that was really my very first case.
We'll finish in a minute.
And with that case, I really became more concerned about what the elderly were going through, particularly the single elderly.
Right.
And which a lot of elderly that's coming in here and calling up, and they're alone, and they're in crisis. I just had a gentleman who left here today who claimed that thousands of dollars worth of art was stolen out of his home after he felt he was illegally evicted. So a lot of these cases are very tragic and they're very sad. And Reverend Sharpton and Michael Harding and Derek and the other regional directors are doing all we can to create an infrastructure we can properly respond to crisis affecting people and their communities.
Well, I think you should mention Legal Night was every last Thursday of the month, which I think is one of the more effective things that we do at NAN.
Yeah, that's just New York. New York City has a legal night that's the last Thursday. But remember, my job is all across the country, so we're trying to make sure that every chapter and every office throughout the country is doing a legal night. And that every chapter and office is also doing what we're calling a crisis clinic once a month. And the crisis clinic will be a little different from legal night. So we're trying to pull all this together so there can be some kind of consistency around the country.
Okay.
There's a legal night in Jersey also.
And so we're hoping to roll some of those elements out at the convention. Reverend Toome, who is the national field director, and I have been talking almost every day, trying to put together that blueprint.
All right. Anything you'd like to say before we let you go?
You can never let me go, but certainly I can adjourn to next time. and maybe I can do an every other week Skype weigh-in to bring you up to date on the crisis issues that are affecting our country, particularly the ones that come here through National Action Network.
It might be more effective if I put you on tape and not use the Skype.
Let's
We're having a lot of problems with that. All right?
Let's do it.
All right?
Let's do it.
So we have your report every other week and see what you're doing.
And can I say this? I'm so proud of Derek, but he said that he looked so much like Beverly. I figured that was a compliment that he was taking a little too high. He can never be as beautiful.
Never, never.
But he said that's a whole of Derek now. But I can say this, he's as brilliant as she is. Derek has an incredible political mind. He has a lot of passion. He cares a lot about people. I count on him a lot for strategy, for great advice. You know, he's an incredible person to have as a friend and someone to have as a colleague.
Thank you, Will.
Well,
Appreciate that.
well, you know, the angels are clapping now.
Just imagine, Teresa and Beverly's up there enjoying each other's company.
There's my boys,
Yeah.
there's my boys.
Those two.
They did it. They did it.
Thank you.
They did
Thank
it.
you, William. Power. Peace.
I was wondering if
you know,
your aunt was
You know,
bald.
this is a family affair. I mean, Nan is, I've been at Nan, what, 21 years now.
Yeah.
And it's the only place to go. I mean, Saturday rallies are church for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
yeah.
tithe every week, and it's my pastor.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of
But he
people
gives
missing out.
such a in-depth political analysis that you can't find anywhere. I mean, his commentary. I mean, before he went to television, MSNBC,
Yeah, absolutely.
he was the best politician out there because he was real. And he had that God-centeredness. And I think it primarily came from Martin Luther King, because we're all disciples of Martin.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my hero.
And Frederick Douglass. Let's not forget Frederick Douglass.
Well, I didn't know Frederick Douglass.
Yeah,
That's
we did.
before
We
my
did.
time.
We did.
I
But,
need
you
to
know,
go back that
I'm
far.
glad you brought that up with Rev, because that's one of the things I want to speak about also.
Okay.
Because we don't extol the man enough. This is a man, like you said, his mind. I mean, the guy is 4 years old preaching. Who does that at 4 years old? Find a 4-year-old that's into something like that. He said he would take his sister's doll babies to the basement and preach to them and practice. That's how he practiced. He was a boy preacher, 11, 12 years old, going around the country, 15, 16, running, you know, Operation Breadbasket and
13,
things like
14.
that. Yeah. And like you said, his mind is so sharp. Even before he got the show, that's what enabled him to get the show. You know, his analyst, his recall of facts and the dialogue and things like that. So, you know, I like to say he's the modern day Martin Luther King. Even though we only have one king, that's not the not king, but he is the modern day Martin Luther King. Even Obama's not in his lane, so to speak, his sphere. So, I wake up every day blessed to work for this man. You know, it's still, you know, I said I'm gonna write a book, Graham. It's called "Pinch Me." Don't pinch me. I might wake up. You know, so, you know, so I'm here and I'm accepting the challenge. He made me director of New York City, which is 9 chapters, 4 in Brooklyn, 2 in Queens, 1 in the Bronx, of course Manhattan, and Staten Island. So I'm tasked with that job. It's heavy lifting, but I'm trying to make all the chapters self-sustainable. So, you know. Listen, you know, and it was by design. My aunt, when we spoke about my Aunt Beverly in the beginning, at the funeral, you know, on her deathbed, because, you know, she was blessed to be able, I know it's hard to say that, but she was blessed knowing she was passing, but she was putting her affairs in order in life, you know, where she was going to leave and how she wanted her funeral. She planned everything, and she said, Derek, I want you to speak at my funeral. And that was by design. That I thought I was going to speak before Reverend.
Oh, that's right.
Reverend closed the show. He's the guy, you know. But as God would have it, you know, God's plan, I spoke after Rev, and I think that really put me on his map, his radar, as far as speak. That and the work I was doing with the Black Institute before I came here, working with another icon in the game, Bertha Lewis.
Is that where he got the idea to bring you on to
I don't know. I don't know if that was the idea. I think that kind of put me, again, I've seen him around. I've come to Nan Saturdays just shake his hand and take photo ops and stuff like that. I've seen him a lot of different things. But I think that was something, you know, he saw me speaking. He saw me engage a crowd. He saw me in that capacity. And then the work I was doing with the Black Institute. When I even, you know, asked Attorney Hardy about it, because my aunt had a close relationship with Attorney Hardy.
Right.
When I was traveling with Bertha Lewis, we were running to
Beverly
Hardy.
knew everybody.
She knew everybody, you know, and she like, that's Michael, I love Michael, and they talk and stuff. So he knew me from Beverly, he knew me from Bertha. So that was the commonality.
Yeah.
And when I reached out to him, because I'm with Bertha, you know, she got struck ill. And I was like, you know, Michael, you know, I want to reach out to you. My aunt's not here. You know, I need someone to talk to guide me, so to speak. And I said, Michael, you know, what opportunities are there in this social civil rights thing that I'm doing? Well, let's meet, let's talk, you know. And we had a 2-hour meeting, talk. We ate, 2 hours and spoke. And little did I know, you know, he was measuring me up to see the task at hand.
He was interviewing you.
He was interviewing me. So, you know, I let him know what I was doing at the Black Institute. And I've done a lot at the Black. Miss Lewis is, I mean, a small organization for Gilchrist Graham. That lady, she has a hand on a lot of different issues in the community. A lot of things I'm bringing to Nan. You know, Nan is a different monster. I like to say, he's a different beast. And, you know, I try to bring some things here. I think Nan waits for a lot of things to come on, or, you know, they try to, you know, pick their spots. You know, they're not all over the place. But they are involved because people have to come to them. Don't get me wrong.
Where
people
else
come
do
to
you
them.
go?
So that's a different thing. But Bertha was out there.
Is there a place to go
Yeah.
when you have a problem?
No, I mean, yeah, you got places to go, but
Is there a
what's
place
going to
where
be
you-
effective? You know what I mean?
I mean, you see
gonna
what
have a
you
voice?
see where national action. I mean, really, you know, if Patricia came on, we get other Skype and we give some stories about
Yeah.
the problems that you have dealing with black people who are or have problems, because of the psychological effect of all this racism that happens, whether it's being the underdog all the time and being traumatized. We more or less turn on each other. So there's a real problem. Everybody, I mean, you got the liquor store right down the street there.
Right next
and
door.
alcoholism is a big problem. And it's always been in Harlem.
Yeah, it's
And they wander in there all the time. So there's no telling what kind of psychological problem you have walking through the door.
Oh, Gilchrist, mental health is very real.
There you go.
And something that's not being addressed. And
Okay.
I had the opportunity, I had a very diverse background, but I had the opportunity to work in the school system for a year with kindergartners and first graders.
Okay.
At the same time, my son is 17 now. He was
Whoa.
a first grader kindergartner. So, but he was going to school in Nyack, Rockland County.
Oh, yeah. Nice,
So
nice town.
he had the same type of issues, so to speak, of, you know, bouncing off the walls. He's tackling other kids. So they felt like he needed services. You know, he has social service. He gets interviewed by counselors, see, you know, what type of services he needs, his needs are. Whereas I'm working in the South Bronx, in the West Bronx, and the same issues with the kids I see that my son has, they're not being seen or evaluated for services. So there's a lack of services at a young age. And now, again, he was in kindergarten, first grade. They put a weight vest on him. That was their remedy.
Oh.
And that just made him stronger, you know, to weigh him down so he's not jumping around the classroom and tackling other boys. And I used to tackle him at home, so I understand why he did it.
Sure.
The other kids were just a little more meek. They weren't being tackled at home, so to speak. But that just made him bigger, stronger, and he football career, so that helped him. But a lot of kids are not getting that also. So mental health needs to be addressed also. As I got older, I saw that in adults, mental health is very, very serious. So that's some things we got to tackle. I always say the battles are not, it's not a one-front battle. It's fought on multiple fronts. So, and then it's tackling a lot of those fronts. So.
I know Bertha was addressing the immigration issue
Yes.
a few years ago. She was at our church, and there was some students there that came with her to talk about their scenarios, trying to get citizenship, you know, the DACA issue before Trump. And Bertha was there with people, and her talk inspired one of the guys at our church to go to law school. Now, he's graduating in May,
Wow.
and his focus is immigration. So it's because Bertha came to the church and had students there who were talking about what they've been going through that inspired him to go to law school.
Right.
And now he's going to service the community, the immigrant community.
Yeah, Bertha has a vast background. Miss Lewis had a documentary filmed on her called Acorn and the Firestorm. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I didn't see it.
Acorn and the Firestorm.
Must see is Acorn and Firestorm, the birth of Breitbart, That's
Really?
when Breitbart was online content. And it's also the birth of fake news. So that's something you have to see. And she built her organization, the Black Institute, from a campaign helping immigrants. It was teachers that were here for years, 15, 20 years, were not able to be legal citizens, but they're working for the Department of Education at the, Board of Education at the time. So that's how she built her organization, the Black Institute. But Ms. Lewis, again, working with her, very keen mind, now working with Sharpton, that's something that, not too many people could say, so I've learned a lot from Ms. Lewis. We left on good terms, great terms. I'm the only one who got to resign. She fires everyone. She'll bring you back if she like you enough. But that's her reputation. But great lady, I love her to death. And now to get to work with Rev is a whole different breed, organization-wise. It's nationwide. He's more national issues,
God.
and stuff like that.
Universal.
They have a lot of commonality. They both have meetings, and they'll eat in front of you while they talk, and eat, in front of you and stuff like that. I thought that was weird. We always talk, don't talk with food in your mouth, but here I am sitting with some icons, and that's what they do.
But you don't have time to sit down and take an hour to eat. You have to work and eat.
Well, it's a calling.
It's a calling. It's a calling.
You
It's a
just
calling.
listen to God talk to you, that's
Yeah.
all. That's your boss.
And Bertha was more, she will stop everything. If a mistake is made or something she had to teach you, she'll stop everything, and she's gonna,
Teaching moment.
I'm talking about a half hour, 45 minutes. If you say something wrong, you'll be there half hour. But everything she's saying is right and exact. And you're going to learn, you're going to absorb something from that. So I miss those sort of teaching lessons because Rev is more, you make a mistake, he's going to correct you and tell you what you do, correct-wise, but he's not spending a half hour, 45 minutes telling you how to fix this, do that, third. He's just keeping it moving. So it's more of a, learn as you go type thing. Emulate me type thing. So, but it's both beneficial, it's both beneficial. Because I could ask Ms. Lewis a question about one thing, and that's an hour. I'm sitting down for an hour talking to her. But she gives you the history of it.
Right.
And she has great recall.
How is this, this convention is a busy
Oh,
time.
the convention is awesome. It's awesome, man. I was out today promoting it. That's why I'm having more flyers for you. I had a flyer left.
Goodness.
Yeah.
This is your first one.
Well, I went last year.
You went last year.
My Aunt Beverly, she couldn't make it because, again, she was sick at the time. So she said, I got these tickets for the women's luncheon. So I was like, yeah, I'll go to the women's luncheon.
Okay.
Let me go. So I went and enjoyed that.
Yeah, Amarosa was there last year.
Omarosa was there. It was a crowded room, though. I didn't, it was crowded. Big, huge room, crowded. And that was my introduction to that. And I went the next day. I went to some other thing the next day. A friend of my aunt said, come.
You might look at nationalactionnetwork.net at doing the convention because I live stream everything
Wow.
in one room. If it's in a different room
Right, of course,
where
you
I'm
can't
not
get to it.
streaming,
Right.
we might, if there's something going on at the same time. But naturally, the opening Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock is tune in to the nationalactionnetwork.net, the website, and you'll see the live stream. And, we're going to play last year's opening with Rev. You have that rolling? I think it's number 4 or 3 or 4. The convention is stated. Do you have the convention ready? Tell me when you're ready. Stanley? Can you get that one up?
Here's another nice message.
And this is,
Stanley.
yeah, this one.
You notice even with Starbucks, I didn't see Trump tweeting about that. So in this year that we mark a half century since King, it is up to us to keep the dream alive and preserve what was won in civil rights and voting rights. There is another similar figure that we have in American history. I would argue that the two seminal figures that no one could ignore in history that are from our community have been Dr. King and President Barack Obama. And the Affordable Care Act of President Obama, his initiatives in community censuses of nonviolent
violent drug offenders, as well as his dealing with policing and other issues, are being challenged and being in many ways withdrawn by this administration. So this organization is under
You, why I'm back there. Live from Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
MNN.
Yeah, this is it.
20 years and counting.
Stanley's, well, you know, there's a lot of confusion here today because we tried this new thing with the Skype. And it seems like we have to go back to the machine, and we had our special, Ryan was here today, so he really helped us out with that. But in the future, we'll try and, well, you know how it goes smoothly most of the time.
Absolutely. Every time I've seen it, it's smooth. You just used me as a test today.
But I wanted you to see, we had Obama here.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of this clip. You know, usually that's, you know, my hero.
Yeah.
All right?
No, he's
so
definitely
he
a
might
hero.
pop up this year, you know.
Yeah, he might. He might.
You know?
It'd be good if he do.
So tell us some of the people that are going to be there.
Oh, wow. We have an all-star cast. Every Democratic candidate running for president will be in the building. That's one thing. So you have the Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, you have Liz Warren, Bernie Sanders, a whole bunch of other people. Andrew Yang. I think that's a very interesting one. This guy is trying to sell the people on, people are selling our data. Data is the new real estate. What they mean by that is everybody with a smartphone, email, laptop. When you purchase something or look at something online, then you start getting emails from various sources that you didn't even apply to. So this guy's like, well, these companies, Facebook's, Google, they're selling your data for millions to billions of dollars. They're selling this data. Every person is entitled to, starting off per month, $1,000 checks for the rest of your life. Starting off. That's just to start off. And he's running for president, so I'm very interested in seeing his, and I'm in charge of the panels this year. So
that sounds like a real scam.
No, not a scam at all.
What do you mean you're entitled to $1,000?
The companies that sell your data. Is a guy, we had a forum a couple of weeks ago.
I missed that. It was on a Wednesday.
We're going to have to rehab it because something happened because you weren't there to help with the video.
Well, you don't do it on a Wednesday.
So he can set up right. I'm not going to do it on a Wednesday. I won't do that because I got to have you in the building. But the guy name is James Felton Keefe, JFK. He's from Detroit. He lives in Harlem now. He's one of the leaders on this thing. Basically, Amazon, again, Google, Facebook, all these big, giant tech companies sell your data. They sell your name, your address, your email, your phone number, everything. They sell your data. That's how they make money, and that's how when you buy something online, they sell that data so that you'll get something comparable. You bought a suit from Portobello, you'll get something comparable from Macy's, you'll get something comparable from Bloomingdale. No. I'm just saying, for an example. So that's how it works. So it's not a scam. And he's having conversations with these companies, and they're on board with it. And he's also having conversations outside of the country, in Germany, in Europe. And these countries, these presidents, these tech giants are on board with it. So that's something big. We have Charlemagne the God promoting his book this year. We have Valerie Jarrett. She used to work for your man, Obama. She's promoting her book, doing a book signing.
When is Obama showing up?
And I'm telling you a secret first here. Shh, don't say it. I can't tell you Obama, but I can tell you Mary J. Blige will be in the building this year. So that was something that's a surprise, but we're 2 weeks away, so, you know.
Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, and we have a great ministers revival at night. Marvin Sapp performing, Hezekiah Walker performing, a couple other people like that. You know, Marvin Sapp is on the board, too. He's a board member.
Is he on the board?
He's a board member, so he's going to be doing that.
Mary J. used to come years ago.
Yeah.
When she first started her career. I remember just how timid she was.
Yeah,
you know? But she has really blossomed and come into her own over the years.
Love Mary.
Personally and musically.
Absolutely.
And she's paying a lot of alimony, too.
Yeah, for her. I mean, that guy shouldn't even do that to her, but it is what it is. But, you know...
$120,000 a month? That's crazy.
He should be ashamed of himself for taking that. Yeah, he should be ashamed of himself. But, you know, we miss singers like that sing from the soul. You could feel it, you know. Nowadays, music is different, you know. I mean, I wouldn't trade my era for anything. I think my era is the last to play outside. You know, now they play games all the time and stuff like that. So Video games. Everything's video games. You can't even have a conversation in the street with people because everybody's in their phone and look like you stop to talk to them and they're in their phone. It's like you're bothering them. Like, why are you bothering me? I'm on my Facebook. I'm on my Instagram. Like,
I was turning the corner the other day by my house, and there was a young lady with 3 little toddlers, one of which was at the street light. The box to the street light was open. She's looking at her phone. He's about to get electrocuted. And I'm turning the corner, and I hit the brake, I opened the door. Wait. Move away from there, move away. And she turns around. I said, you're not supposed to be on the phone. Doing whatever, you're not doing anything important. You have 3 small children, and he's about to get electrocuted. And I tried, the box doesn't even close. So I had to call the city. But the obsession with these phones, it is a form of addiction.
No, it is.
Oh, it is an addiction.
It is.
No doubt about it.
I have a video I'm going to send you. It speaks exactly to that. It's almost a cartoon, but it's around cell phone, how people just, you know, somebody getting beat up, instead of helping, they want to film it.
They want to take a picture.
It's just stuff like that. So I'll send you the video, but I tell my children, you know, who controls who? Do you control your device, or does your device control you? If the phone rings, do you have to jump and answer it? If you hear a beep, a ding for a message, do you have to answer it right away? Like, take your time. There's no rush. Like you said, people are walking up the steps in the train. It's like they have to look at the phone. Why you can't wait till you get to the top and then you settle yourself, look at the phone? What's the rush?
Well, if you're lonely, that's a good way to get in contact with the planet.
Yeah.
If you want attention.
And social media is like that, too. A lot of people live on social media.
Yeah.
It's like everything revolves around social media.
That's it.
You know,
look at Donald Trump.
It's sickening, though. It's very sickening. It's very sickening.
Classic example.
Very sickening.
He runs the country by Twitter.
Do Twitter.
People said, you know, I look for you on Facebook. I said, I don't do Facebook.
You don't do it?
I do face-to-face.
Right.
Even texting, you know, there is a need to text at times, but I was telling a young lady, you need to know how to talk to somebody, how to listen to somebody. I said, because you're 13 years old, a guy is going to come up to you. He wants to rap to you. You need to know how to read a young man.
Right.
You need to know whether he's lying, scheming.
Right.
And you can't get that from texting.
No.
Anybody can text. I said, and you're wasting your time back and forth. You send a message, they have to read it, they have to respond, they have to send it to you. I said, when you're talking, you can feel the person. You know, even on a phone call, you can feel the person.
You're absolutely right.
But texting,
you're
totally devoid of any real content.
I kind of liken it to dynamite. When dynamite was created, it was used for digging. And then somewhere along the line, somebody said, I could blow people up with this, or blow a bank up with it, or whatever the case. Social media, emailing, texts, these are tools, but a lot of people rely on them exclusively. You know, I'll get an email with some people, and we're going back and forth 7, 8, 9 times, and it's like, you know what? Let me just call you and get this straight.
Yeah, you're wasting time.
It's supposed to be an addition to the conversation, not reliance.
Right.
It's complete reliance on text and email. These are tools, not the sole being of communication. So they were created with something good in mind, just like the internet, but people are
if you FaceTime, that's a little bit more effective. I think
that's
FaceTime...
a little invasive, too, you know?
Well, that's how you can tell what's going on with people. If you FaceTime, I think that's effective.
Yeah.
I mean, you would almost need to FaceTime in order to really see how people are.
FaceTime is a good tool, too. Again, these are tools. You can FaceTime. You know, all of these things have this proper place, but it's not supposed to be
FaceTime is like in person.
Abusive way. FaceTime could be, you know.
That's in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
Person to person.
FaceTime is good. FaceTime is good.
You know?
I do that with my grandkids.
Yeah.
FaceTime. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
I look for black eyes, and
Yeah. So we got 4 packed days for the convention. A lot of things going on. I'm excited about one other thing too. Daughters of the movement.
Oh, that's always great.
That's going to be exciting to me. The daughters of various Javier Belafonte and Ozzie Davis and Rudy D. daughter, and of course Sharpton daughters.
Oh, they're the best.
Nina Simone's daughter.
Nina Simone daughter in there too. So
You might
that's
mention
Percy
Dominique's,
something, Dominique.
Dominique's son.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
spent
soon.
21 hours there on that
Oh
one.
yeah. Wow.
21 hours.
Wow.
That's my girl.
Yeah.
Dominique.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart. And the kid, I mean,
He's adorable.
Marcus
Marcus
Jr.
Al, he's adorable, man. He's
Yeah, he's
adorable.
adorable.
Al got his grandson. I was very excited about that.
And did you see Jesse holding him? I got
Jesse
a picture
was
of him
holding
and Jesse.
That was powerful when he came to that
Oh,
Action Network. The
You know, I've
things he
got
spoke
6
about.
months. I'm 6
I
months.
watched it 3
older.
times already.
I'm 6 months older than Jesse.
Really? Wow.
All right.
God bless
So
you.
when he came and I heard about Parkinson's,
Yeah.
so I'm looking, what am I in store for?
Right.
You
know,
don't take
hold
on.
Right.
But
You don't even
you
take
think
that.
about
Stresses,
it.
travel,
You think about it.
Life experiences.
You know, you think about that coming to you if you're that age.
Yeah.
And he came there and blew it away.
Did he? It was so powerful.
Blew it away. If that's Parkinson's,
Right.
give me a little dose of it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He was teaching. He said, I don't preach no more because of the Parkinson's.
Oh.
He was teaching. He was teaching. And I watched it 3 times already. It's very powerful. The things he was speaking about, he was speaking from a different, totally different perspective that we never even heard of. I haven't heard of. So I was very excited to hear about it. Do my little research afterwards, you know, learn more about it. So that was definitely powerful. And that's what I mean about Rev. Like, we do not, you know, take time to really honor this man the way he's supposed to be. God forbid we waiting for him to pass away
Sure.
to be able to honor him, you know, the proper way. You know, not us. I mean, the younger kids, a lot of younger kids. I spoke at a school last week, and I asked these are seniors. You ever heard of Reverend Al Sharpton? Never heard of him. You ever heard of Frederick Douglass? Never heard of him. I said a couple of other, never heard of him. Martin Luther King? Yeah, we heard of him.
Yeah.
Everybody heard
We're
of
lucky
King.
if they've
But
heard of
what
him.
about our other history? They're trying to eliminate that, you know.
Right.
So, you know, on King Day, you know, again, it's not being, you know, put in this proper perspective. Rev was in Washington, D.C. in the morning entertaining 40-plus elected officials, Joe
Right.
Biden, Bloomberg,
Right.
and other elected officials in D.C. Then he flies back, he flies to New York by 1 o'clock to be with 60 of the top elected officials here in the city, in the state. Cousins is here, Schumer, Gillibrand. I mean, who does that? You know, and people try to, oh, they're kissing the ring. No, they're not kissing the ring. He has earned what the respect in the audience that he's gathering.
See, you're getting to see how hard he works. People don't understand
They
how
have no
hard
idea.
Reverend Sharpton works.
Yes, and I do.
You know, when they had those threats
Yeah.
over here at Time Warner, the packages with
Yeah.
the bombs, there were threats made against Reverend Sharpton, too, by that guy. There were threats coming into him all the time. And you have to consider, Martin had the same thing, Malcolm X had the same thing. These men continue to do what they do in spite of. And I know over the years, we did protection for Reverend Sharpton in some of the marches, especially down in Bensonhurst. And it was like Cicero, Illinois, you know. And those Italian guys down there, they were talking smack. So myself, Eric, and the guys, we just opened our jackets. We ain't Martin Luther King. Step off the curb. We'll kill you. And you know what I saw that day? I saw white cops beating up white dudes in Bensonhurst.
Wow.
Jacking them and taking them around the corner. They were whipping some tail and told them to get out of here. Because we made it very clear, no one's going to hurt Reverend Sharpton. We'll kill them out
That's
here.
right.
We will
right.
kill them. He doesn't have to defend himself. We're going to do what has to be done to protect him.
No, I get you.
We're not giving up any leaders to the stupidity and the violence.
No.
We're not going to do that anymore.
No. And I contemplate that a lot, being at the House of Justice. You know, after every rally, he shakes everyone's hand who wants to come up and shake his hand.
That's a potential
And
threat.
I have to stand by him, and I'm looking at everyone.
Derek, I've been around him 20
Yes,
something
I
odd
know,
years.
I know.
God's protecting him, okay?
Yeah,
This
you-
is a
You
this
can't
is a
leave it
God
exclusively up to God. Listen, God protects everyone, but you can't leave it exclusively. You do still take precautions.
There was a
Like
guy
I said
traveling
before,
to
precautions.
Brooklyn.
He is a disciple of Martin Luther King. He's carrying on that work, and that's why I'm there. That's why I follow Rev, because that was my Savior.
Absolutely.
You all right?
Absolutely.
So I'm the old school.
Yeah.
And
So
I
that-
tithe every week. You see, I'm tithing.
Every
That's
week,
my church.
Every week, faithfully.
That's my church.
Faithfully, I see you.
All right? And that's my pastor. Okay? That's how I feel about it.
And he's right about almost everything he talks about, how we got away from the church and just that and the
That's
third.
right.
So, you know, that's one of my tasks is as the director of New York with the
Okay.
chapters. I'm trying to infuse youth in organizations. So by this, you know, a lot of these groups are going create new groups or joining Black Lives Matters and that sort of thing. And again, everyone has his own space, everyone has his own place. But I'm trying to infuse what you do by going through the colleges, engage them, the young minds that's out there,
that's
to be a part of NAN,
Yes,
and
that's
infuse the organization. But I'm starting to see, to your point, we have to infuse going back to the church. That's where it's at. I know a lot of people speak against the church. I have my own relationship with God, and this, you know, why we have to give the preacher, the pastor, this, that, and the third, you know, but this is what it is, like learning the elected official game, learning politics. Candidates cannot run unless they have money. A church cannot function unless they have money. So, you know, these things have to go hand in hand. We have to get back to that. You know, a lot of our kids, you know, I used to wake up on Sundays to go to church. You know, a lot of kids don't know what that is. You know what I mean? You still do. A lot of kids don't know what that is. To wake up to go to church. Everybody's up all night and they sleep half the day. You know, and some scary things coming down with the cannabis and stuff like that. I got a lot on my mind, so I could talk about wax poetic about a lot of different ills of our being as a people also. But I'm gonna just, you know, let's again stay the course. You know, I'm always looking. Even my first day talking to Rev, coming aboard, I'm looking to do the work of NAN as if Rev is not here.
Ooh.
No. Not wishing him back, but listen, he put his work in. We can't always rely on Rev. We have to.
His spirit will always be there,
You know,
but I mean,
he's expressed this. Maybe I shouldn't.
SCLC continued without Martin.
But it
there
died.
has to be preparation.
But
It's
it
a
died.
struggle.
And
Right.
again, this is some of the lessons I learned from Rev.
Batons have to be passed.
but I
No
don't know.
matter-
I don't think
no
there's
matter
another
who.
human being that can politically break down the present problems. There's no other mind
Obama
like
could, but
Rev.
he's not like on the civil rights agenda. Obama could break it down. He's well versed on the ills
He's not.
because he was
Rev
at the
is-
highest level. He
Rev
was
is hard.
privy to the secret confidential files.
But see, Rev is God-centered.
No, Rev is totally different. We may not never
has a
see
different-
another Rev.
No, because nobody will come up in the
So
same
this is
environment
why
he came in.
this is why I'm saying
It's a different call.
NAN needs to thrive 100 years after Rev, 200 years after Rev. NAN need to be like that.
Rev will be here till he's 90.
I hope
okay?
he's 290. I hope he's here forever.
The hydra,
Rev's gonna
the
be around a
concept of a
long time.
hydra, you were talking about what you were bringing, you know, to NAN. So, like when I was in 100 Blacks in law enforcement, Eric was the spokesperson, but he wasn't the head.
Who was?
There was no head. People didn't know that. They saw Eric and they said, oh, Eric was not the head. We had a board that met. I'll call it a board. It wasn't a board. But we met and made decisions, and different people carried out different things. If Eric wasn't there, it didn't make a bit of difference. So NAN has to be a hydra. Because in attacking Eric, they couldn't stop the organization. Ray Kelly was trying to find out who our members were, and I told him straight, that's none of your business.
Wow.
All right? Don't get out of line, and don't stay in your lane. Don't ask us questions about our organization. It's none of your business. We don't answer to you. So as NAN is growing, and you've got chapters all over the country now, each head should be feeding NAN. You know, whether they're in Cincinnati or LA, the information comes in and then it comes back. So the Hydra had all these heads, but it had one body. And that's what NAN should be. Rev is at the center, but all the heads are feeding and bringing information to the center, and then information goes back out. So NAN will always be, as long as it's not focused on just Rev, but understanding that if all of us are out there working and getting and obtaining information and sending it back to the base. Even after he's gone, that process should continue. And whoever is leading the organization at that point, fine. But the organization is more than that central figure. It is all the heads and hands working out there beyond 145th Street.
No, you're right.
Because then they can't stop.
Let me do this. I want you to play my spiritual leader, Martin. And I want you to hear this, Derek. Play Martin. And now this is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King in 1967, a year before he died. And you got to realize, 67, there was a lot of heat on Martin. You know, Martin had gave a speech at Riverside Church against the war.
Against the war.
And nobody liked Martin. Listen to this.
Why I oppose the war.
What is it about the Negro? I mean, every other group that came as an immigrant somehow, not easily, but somehow got around it. Is it just the fact that Negroes are black?
White America must see that no other ethnic group has been a slave on American soil. That is one thing that other immigrant groups haven't had to face. The other thing is that the color became a stigma. American society made the Negro's color a stigma. America freed the slaves in 1863 through the Emancipation Proclamation of Abraham Lincoln, but gave the slaves no land or nothing in reality, and as a matter of fact, to get started on. At the same time, America was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that there was a willingness to give the white peasants from Europe an economic base. And yet it refused to give its black peasants from Africa, who came here involuntarily in chains and had worked free for 244 years, any kind of economic base. And so emancipation for the Negro was really freedom to hunger. It was freedom to the winds and rains of heaven. It was freedom without food to eat or land to cultivate, and therefore it was freedom and famine at the same time. And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps, but it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And many Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
Some important statements that we need to really listen to really understand our conditioning and why we are, and I think every immigrant that comes here has to understand, we have to understand ourselves to start with. And Martin, way back then, our spiritual leader, and that's Reverend Sharpton, spiritual leader, my spiritual leader. I told you that's the reason I'm at NAN, because this man's a disciple of Martin.
Absolutely.
The same principle that Martin just preached there. You take that today and have Martin sit in front of a run for president, preaching like that. Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine?
No way.
Where we would be, man? That man was cut down at 39.
Yeah.
But his last year was a struggle, because he went up against the powers that be, against the municipalities.
See, they were trying to tell Martin to stay in his lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay in the pulpit and just do civil rights. I'm going to do human rights. I'm going to address the issues that are impacting people across the board in a negative manner. And once he attacked that military machine, because you got to remember, Dow Chemical, Lockheed Martin, all these corporations were Bendix. They were making big money on the war.
Right, of course.
Big money. And for him to come out and speak against it, it wasn't just some hippie talking about peace. It was a man who was the head of a movement, who was now stepping from the civil rights into the human rights and addressing the malady of what the government was doing. Just like Malcolm. You know, Malcolm went from the black Muslim to Muslim. He went from a narrow vein to a broader scope.
And in the end, he came back to the civil rights movement.
Right. He and Martin,
you know?
there are a lot of speeches that we have never heard, where Martin is even more militant. This is a mild one. And I got a chance to hear some of them on WBAI about a month ago. Speeches we've never heard. Martin, they always put Martin up as this passive guy. But he was not that passive in the latter days of his life.
That's why he was murdered. When people see the light, and well, that's how I see Reverend Sharpton. I see him as a disciple of Martin Luther King, and his political analysis is close to what Martin talks. You know. So here we have you. We're working for the same Savior.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Rev
again,
said, sorry to cut you, but I remember something Rev said years ago. He said the Psalms came back to him, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. He said the day came when Koch had to call him for help. Ed Koch had to call him for help, and he thought of the Psalm, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
You have 30 seconds.
And what really put him over the top was also as when he ran for the Senate, U.S. Senate. He lost, but he got a lot of votes, and that made him a national figure. So I've had a lot of discussions with him about some of these things, his journey. I wish I had more time. I would tell you a story about James Brown. That's a good one, but I'm here. I'm looking forward to the challenge ahead of me. I know that, you know, working with Reverend Al Sharpton.
Power to the people.
No justice, no peace. And I'm very happy. And
we got another minute for the Bronx.
Yep. Thanks. How's that again?
The Boogie Down Bronx.
Boogie Down Bronx. We go off at 59.
We're still on for a minute.
So.
Well, listen, I thank you guys for having me, man, Mr. Gilchrist and Graham. I'm just excited to be with Nan.
Okay.
You know, I'm very excited. I'm excited about the opportunity, the potential to learn from Rev. We have a new Civil Rights Museum going up. You know
That's
that. Right. He has tasked me with doing the transition, being in charge of that, make sure things go well. So, you know, I'm putting the pieces together. I don't think I know it all, but I know that I can learn as much as I can.
Well,
so
you got the angels looking out for you. You got Beverly and Teresa up there.
Yes, yes, Beverly and Teresa. Amen.
Power to the people.
Power to the people.
And the God in me loves the God in you. And stay tuned for more of the GILCHRIST Experience. We'll be back, and Derek will be definitely back. And we'll get our crisis director. We'll have a report from him. Power to the people. God bless. That was excellent.
Oh, thank you for having me. I was a
This
little nervous. I wasn't as nervous as I was going to be.
This is a start, man.
Yeah, yeah.